Away we go. Let's have a welcome for Kevin VanDan of Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kevin VanDan is your classic champion. He's done it.
All right, welcome. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I think the next guy that we've got up here needs no explanation on who he is. I've got Mr. Kevin VanDan, and we're here to talk about a new project that he's got launching in the next upcoming days, or maybe even today. But Kevin, let's talk about what we got, the VanDan Experience.
Yeah, no, it's this has been a culmination of a long time, a lot of planning, a lot of work. We've been working on these shows all season long to get to this point. So it's really cool to me that it's finally time. It's the new year and we're kicking off a new season. Everybody likes that little bit of downtime, but for me, it's totally I've done television my whole career, but it's always been for somebody else. So to launch my own show on the Outdoor Channel, the way that we're doing it, it's really a full circle kind of real special time for me.
So what led up to that? I mean, I know you and I've talked to, you've had obviously a 33-year career. You've pretty much won everything there is to win with, 7 Anglers of the Year, the Bassmaster Classic titles, but that competition drive factor that you've had pretty much your entire life, is that what you're throwing into TV now? I mean, kind of explain what made the decision to do it now. Hey, I'm going to jump in on my own TV show.
Well, I've always had it in my mind that I wanted to, at the end of my tournament career to transition into television. I grew up watching, my heroes, Bill Dance and Roland Martin and Jimmy Houston and Hank Parker and the Linders and, on and on and on. I mean, obviously the Bassmasters and, just all of that history in watching these people do television, but it's changed a lot since then, or the way people, view media and with all the social media platforms now and YouTube and all that, but still, the Outdoor Channel to me is the destination. If you're a serious outdoors person, you like to hunt and fish, that's the network to be on. So, this is something that, I made a conscious decision to want to start up, and we put a lot of planning into it. And I knew at some point that, I needed to make that. I mean, everything doesn't last forever. I've had a great career fishing tournaments. I love the competition. Did it for 33 years at a very high level, or I feel like I did. And I love teaching people, though. I like sharing my knowledge and my ways, which have been really, successful for me to help other people. I mean, the most gratifying thing for me over the years is having somebody come up to me and say, man, I read that magazine article, or I saw that YouTube video, or I saw the show that you did here, catching them this way or using this technique or whatever it happens to be. And I went out there and I took my dad, or I took my son, or my grandpa, or, a buddy, and we just had a great time on the water. And, it really worked. And that to me is really fulfilling. And, I enjoyed, doing that, because the one thing you don't get back in life is memories, and I mean, some of my best memories with my family, with some of my friends have been things that we've shared on the water in the boat together. And, I love that aspect of it. Obviously, I've been a lot of lakes around the country, fished a lot of tournaments, a lot of places, and it's very competitive. But filming the television shows has been that same thing for me. It's been very, because, we're doing all our own production. We're, producing all our own shows. We're doing all the, I say we, it's me and my wife and my boys and our team, my employees. We're doing it all ourselves. And man, it's a lot of work. And when you leave the house to go on a shoot, the meter's running. I mean, the clock's ticking, and, it's expensive to do. I mean, with the camera gear and all of the things that go along with producing television, it doesn't take long to rack up a pretty big bill at it. So that part of it to me fulfills that competitive, that drive that I have is getting out there, going to some place that I haven't been in a while, and making it happen. I mean, obviously we've got a lot of history, So we showcase some of that. The history of the sport is really important to me. You'll see that right from the show open, that you'll see Ray Scott in there, and you're going to hear Bob Cobb in there. I mean, some of these people that have been
Pioneers,
iconic legends, and of what made bass fishing, competitive bass fishing, what it is today. I still want people to remember and understand where we came from, but also today's different. Technology is different. You got to fish differently to be successful. And so, we're showcasing all that.
that's awesome. I know one of the things you told me about, I think last year was that the reason the TV is because you want to be able to go to some of the lakes that might have been off limits, or you had a tournament or something like that. You couldn't really show people exactly what you're doing because of rules and regulations, or just traveling. Your schedule was so busy. You had the Bass Pro Tour, you had Red Crest, things like that. But now you're able to pick your schedule and be able to go from up north, down south, East Coast, West Coast, that kind of travel.
Yeah, it is. You'd think in theory, that's a big part of it. And that's one of the things that moved me this direction, is that, the tour schedule, it's a grind, and you are married to it. You can't miss a single event. And I have missed a lot of things in my family life over my career because of tournaments. You got to be here, you got to be there. And you have sponsor commitments and ICAST and the Bassmaster Classic Expo and the Red Crest Expo and Sport Show, things that you have to do. So, and I'll still have that, I still have to do that, but the rest of it, I kind of get to pick and choose where I want to be and what times that I want to be there. So that does help. But I've learned this season that you can't just plan on that. Mother Nature always wins. And, even though if you want to time something out, it never really works that way. We left for a shoot to Texas this past year, and literally the day before. You got to schedule this stuff out for your camera guys and boat drivers and just everything. You got to plan it, even if you do it fairly last minute. And man, they got hit down there. I was going to go to Lake Fork, and they literally got 7 inches of rain the day before I left, and it just blew it out. So we had to shift gears and make a move, but in the end, it really worked out. And that's the way this season really went, is fish some great fisheries, travel around the country. I've got some really cool guests on there, and it's all bass fishing. I love the outdoors. I love to hunt. I like turkey hunting. I like deer hunting. I like duck hunting. I like fishing for other species, saltwater and salmon, trout, things like that. And eventually I'd like to branch into, other areas and do different shows. But for now, we're going to really, this first season, we focused strictly on bass fishing, and, 13 original episodes. It goes by pretty quick, but we've got some really good shows. And I'm pretty sure, the fans of mine and people that really want to learn to become a better angler are really going to enjoy what we did.
So is that what the viewers can expect? Your knowledge and the history of all these lakes, but tips and techniques back to,
Absolutely.
channel swings, things like that. We all know forward facing is kind of changed the game in the last several years. But is that what a viewer can expect? Hey man, I'm going to tune in. You're going to go to a lake and really, break that down, show the old school tips, techniques, all the way from old school to new school. They can expect a little bit of everything.
No doubt. We definitely have technology. Johnson Outdoors is one of my main partners. And they make the best trolling motors and electronics and shallow water anchor. They make the best technology to help anglers be successful. But it's still, you got to know where to go and what to do. And we do break that down. One of my favorite episodes from the year is one we did in Florida at the Kissimmee Chain. We actually, I was going down there for heavy hitters, and it's a long time, for practice and with all the different qualifying rounds and things like that. I said, it'd be a shame to go all the way down there, make that drive from Michigan, and not get a show out of it. So we decided to film a show during practice for that event of how I break down a lake for a tournament. And it worked out really good. We had some great footage. I think it's way more than we could show in one episode. So we'll have some YouTube stuff on that too. But, it went really well. And then, I fished the tournament and I ended up finishing second in the tournament and caught the biggest fish on the final day, on the championship day, and all that. So it just really tied it all together. But I think if people are looking for, whether you're a tournament fisher or not, how to break down a lake and how to go out there on a limited amount of time and be successful, that's exactly what we do. I mean, my style has always been, that faster pace, aggressive power fishing techniques and things like that. And a lot of what I do on the show is that. And we do go to some historical places, and you can see some of the highlight footage and stuff that we've got some of that's in there. I'm really thankful for both Major League Fishing and for BASS, for Bassmasters, because I mean, really the bulk of my career, my tournament career, was with the Bassmasters, and I've got a lot of really great memories from early on. Again, like I say, the Ray Scott days with Trip Weldon and Dewey Kendrick, his tournament directors, and when Helen Sevier ran it, and then the ESPN days with Bass. So we've got a lot to pull from the past, but we don't want to give it all away in 1 year either. But that is the big thing that viewers will take away is, like, I used to try to keep things secret because it's tournaments, and I was able to for a long time until we had live stream bass fishing. Man, I was able to keep, for instance, a jerkbait was a year-round lure for me, man. I caught them on it all the time, but I was able to kind of keep that hidden until the days of Bassmaster Live started, and that's when you see a lot of these things changing. You just don't miss anything anymore. So we
No,
really
they
break
don't.
it down in the shows and give up the juice and give up the goods, and had some great days out there, and we caught some really had some really special moments that happened this season. So I'm looking forward to see people's reaction to it. It's pretty diverse. We've got Florida, Texas, Tennessee, New York, Minnesota, Michigan. We traveled all around. We got a mix of smallmouth. We've got a lot of largemouth, and really a mix of seasons too. And that's something that when the shows air, and most of the shows air, in the first 2 quarters of the year, that spring fishing is a big part of it. But we've got a good mix of really all of it.
Yeah, that fall fishing gets overlooked. I mean, Bass, MLF, they always stop in August, and then everybody's like, man, some of the best fishing is that fall. You can really catch those giants. And the one thing I didn't hear I didn't hear Table Rock on there. I was hoping that I could get some more pointers on my own home lake.
Well, Table Rock is a lake that we have probably spent more time on than any other, storied or tournament body of water, just because of my relationship with Bass Pro Shops. And Bass Pro Shops is the title sponsor of the show. But, schedule wise, it just didn't work out to where I went there. And I have filmed so much on Table Rock in the past.
Yeah,
it really didn't bother me for this first year, but I'll definitely be there. Again, with being, Springfield being the headquarters for Bass Pro Shops and the first original marquee store there, we'll definitely get down there to do that. And I love the lake because it's one of the few lakes that I go to that you catch all 3 species on most every fishing day there, and it's in a great place right now. It's just over the last handful of years, you guys have had some high water conditions, had some great spawns and things like that. So the lake is in phenomenal shape, and it's one of my favorite places. I love it during the pre-spawn. So look forward to seeing more stuff on that. And when you do it like this, you can only pick so many places.
Yep.
And I don't want to get caught into the rut where every show it's like you got to have 10 pounders. You got to catch giant bass or whatever, because that's not reality for most people. But we do go to some big fish places. I did a show early on in the year with Luke Bryan last year at his home lake, which he manages exceptionally well. He's a great friend of mine. I've been fishing with him now, quite a few times over the last handful of years. He's come to Michigan and fished with me, and I fished with him down there at his place. And I have tried so hard to help him catch a 10-pounder. And he finally caught one without me just about a couple of years ago. And he's caught a few, since then. and he's fishing great fisheries, right? All around. But on his home body of water, I've caught a 10-pounder with him, and he's lost a couple, that I think we're close to that. But we did a show, and his lake is not no pushover. It's not doesn't have a big population, but it's really managed well, and it's got some quality fish. And he catches a truly a fish of a lifetime on my show. So it's the first mega giant on the VanDan Experience is with Luke Bryan, and that show comes up. That show's coming in a few weeks, but most people just don't understand or appreciate the passion that he has. Obviously, he's an international superstar. I mean, one of the top selling country artists of all time. He's on American Idol. He's all over the place. Super talented guy, but he loves fishing, and he loves bass fishing more than all of it combined.
Anything. He's ate up. Funny story. The mossback habitats that he's got in that. I was the one that put those in there. So we did that years ago. They, his manager called us and stuff, and I was working with them on a couple projects. So we went out there and installed all those and got to fish that. Like, was it 88 acres or 80 acres or whatever? It's just a beautiful place. And like you said, his passion, you go over to his barn and he's got, 100 rods lined up with different baits and everything on there. You just pick what you want and go out and fish. It's so well maintained. And Troy, his pond management is the knowledge. In fact, he's actually doing one of my ponds here in Missouri that a landowner of mine does, that Frank does all at Johnny's Thunder Ridge and stuff like that. My landowner is the one that does all that. So it's kind of a full circle, comes around. But
Troy Goldsby, is like, I have talked to lots of biologists over the years, a lot of fisheries managers and things like that. And to be honest with you, I've not been very impressed with their real world knowledge on a lot of these fishery, what doesn't matter if it's Florida or West Virginia or Texas or New York or Michigan, but Troy is a real world guy, sharp, does an amazing job. And he's all over, he's working, he does a ton for the state of Tennessee, but he also is all over the Southeast. I mean, from Texas, Oklahoma, all the way to the East Coast, Florida and everything. And he is really sharp, and I've become really good friends with him, and just really appreciate exactly what they've been able to accomplish and what it takes to do. And that's the cool thing about Luke, is he loves to share it with people. He's got 2 boys that just love fishing. I've helped them, try to teach them a lot of different things, and to watch them progress as anglers from when I first started fishing with them to where they're at now. I mean, they are little hog snatchers now. I mean, they know what the heck they're doing and know everything. Obviously,
it doesn't hurt. They've got that lake right out in front of the house now too.
I mean, well, he's got 3 different lakes, and I mean, he's very, very serious about it. I mean, he's a country boy at heart, loves the outdoors, and it just really shines through. So, I've got 2 episodes with him this year because it's just so good. And I'll definitely every year want to have him as a guest on my show, because he just loves it so much. He's like a giddy little kid out there on the water. I mean, I took him to my world smallmouth fishing, and he was just fascinated and blown away by the clear water and the smallmouths and just how aggressive they are. And it just, he just can't get enough of it. And I love what, to see people's reactions like that. And that's really why we do it. I mean, that's why I love to teach people, so they can have those kind of moments in their own fishing.
Yeah, he's very animated. Whether he's killing a deer or catching a fish, that's the one that you're going to get his real reaction. There's a lot of stuff out there showcasing that for sure on his TV show and everything else. So what about, like, I mean, I know the TV show will kind of wrap things up, but what about like bait designs, rod designs? Are you still going to have your hands? I mean, obviously you're so intertwined in this industry. Is there any behind the scenes things that you might show on the show, or is it just kind of
absolutely. I mean, to me, I think it's really important to go full circle and show people the how, the why, so they understand, the seasonal pattern and how to react, the techniques, the baits and things like that. And I do. I mean, the great thing, one of the things I'm really proud of is all the partners that I had for so many years. I mean, really almost my whole career have followed along with me and are supporting me on this next venture with the VanDan Experience, so it's, Bass Pro Shops is the title sponsor. Strike King and Lose, they're the primary sponsor for me as well. And we work real close together on developing all of that equipment, rods, reels, and we've got a lot of stuff coming to baits and things like that. But, Mustad hooks to Johnson Outdoors, to Minn Kota and Humminbird, Mercury, TH Marine, Yeti, every single one of my companies that I've spent time with is still with me there on the show and a big part of it. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. It's way different than I've filmed lots of TV shows, but when you produce and have to, do everything from your own team, it's a lot of work and a lot of effort. And I'm really proud of the team that we've got and everything that's gone into it. My wife has done an amazing job behind the scenes. I mean, she is the glue that keeps everything going and coordinated and scheduled and on top of it. I mean, everything from production. If you see, executive producers on the show, you're going to see my wife and my boys and all of our team. And we all live it every day. And, my whole family's grown up in the outdoors. And so this is going to be a really fun venture. And, the production quality, we did not, spare anything on it. We're doing it, I think, correctly, multiple cameras, lots underwater, drone. I mean, just to be able to really get a great understanding of what we're doing out there and allow people to see and experience it and feel like you're right there in the boat, as we go along to these places.
That's awesome. I mean, I've been producing outdoor television and stuff for years, and that's one of the things that that you guys hit the nail on the head. And I use you and Sherry as an example whenever I'm talking to any of these young anglers that call us for advice or social media or whatever. I'm like, you guys have been a team for years. Anybody that's watched you at ICAST or the Bassmaster Class or anything else, I mean, she's got you on that schedule. Come on, we got to go. We got to go. And and that says a lot about your character. The fact that you've had these sponsors this many years, it's a grind for these guys to, man, I don't know if I'm going to keep the sponsor. I'm like, well, if you over deliver and you over deliver and you over deliver, they'll be there, So that's kind of one of those things it's great that you've done this for so many years, but it speaks a lot about the character and the way that you guys have run your business.
Yeah, we have a pretty solid work ethic, and that's something I've learned a long time ago is that you have to, you've got to understand what your partners are looking for, and yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, we're trying to help sell their products, but I have partnered with the people who build the best outdoor gear, tackle, fishing boats, lures, rods, reels, line, battery, whatever it is, I don't cut any corners and I'm not going to put my name or associate my brand with something that I don't think is the very best out there. And I'm just really proud of the relationships that we've had for so many years. I mean, most of mine are, 25, 30 plus years. I mean, my whole career. So that, is something that I can't just say enough about how happy I am and how proud I am to be with these same people.
So where can everybody, I mean, I know we've talked about the outdoor channel. Where can everybody tune in to the, I know you've got different times and dates and stuff like that. I know you're going to do some YouTube stuff. I'm sure it's going to be on MOTV, probably the app after that.
Yeah.
People can make sure to tune in?
Originally, to start off the beginning of the year for the first quarter, you got to get to the outdoor channel. And there's, lots of different ways to get the outdoor channel. After that first, quarter, they end up on the My Outdoor TV app as well, which that makes it really easy. I love the My Outdoor TV app. It's, you can go through and watch all the shows that you want to at your convenience. It's great for all the past Major League Fishing events and things like that. But whatever show it is, whether if you want to go see Zona's show or Salt with Carter Andrews, or if you want to see the Drurys or Lee and Tiffany or the Buck Commanders, you can go there and find everything you want. I mean, they are the destination for sure. But eventually they'll end up on our YouTube channel and stuff like that. But to start with, we've got a great opportunity to partner with the Outdoor Channel to launch my first full length television show to network cable TV like this. It's the place to be. I mean, there's lots of places claim they're outdoors, but there's no place like the Outdoor Channel in my opinion. So, and it's majority of people already have it on their cable packages or their satellite packages that they already have.
Yep. No, I'm super excited to finally see this. I know you guys have put a lot of thought, a lot of process. You don't scrimp on anything you've ever done. That's your entire career. Everybody knows that. So we're looking forward to a great production and the knowledge. And like you said, there's just you breaking down these lakes and showing the tips and techniques and a little bit of behind the scenes, celebrity guests like Luke Bryan and some. I know you're going to have way more than that, but just it's going to be something people you're going to want to tune in. Whether you're a newcomer, whether you're a tournament bass angler that's followed Kevin's career the whole time, you're going to want to tune in and just check this out because it's going to be second to none. I'm super excited. I'm happy for you and Sherry and the entire family and the boys. So, as an avid fan of yours for years and a guy that's got to spend some time with you on the water, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty special. The first show of the year, tip it off a little bit. My first guest is Mark Zona. He's a great friend of mine. He's got his own show on the Outdoor Channel, and some of our airings line up back to back, and Mark has been a big help for me to make this transition into it. I've watched him and I've been on his show so many times over the years. He's just a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun together, and it's a great way to kick off the VanDan Experience.
Well, again, congratulations. We'll put some links in here. We'll let people know exactly where to tune in, you guys. But make sure you tune in. Give Kevin a follow on all the social media platforms. If you haven't got Outdoor Channel, like I said, you could, if you've got the package, I know you can pay a monthly subscription to it. There's a lot of different ways, like you said, if you're Dish Network or DirecTV or YouTube TV, whatever. But tune in this fall. Let's support Kevin VanDan and his family and their adventure for the VanDan Experience.
Man, thank you for having me on.
KVD slams the door, another four. Put your eyes on the scale. This is that young man we told you about. You may be seeing the birth of the next superstar, Kevin VanDan.